I wanted to see how far I could push my small 3D printer, so I took on the tallest print I've ever attempted, a 2-foot tall Darth Vader, printed in sections, assembled by hand, and finished with a glowing red lightsaber. So, when you put this Darth Vader next to other things I've printed, it kind of puts it in perspective. I've 3D printed other elaborate things using my home 3D printer setup, much complex, but this takes it to a whole new level, from the slicing of the model, the assembly, to even setting up the lightsaber. It required a whole different set of planning to get this done. I'm going to share that with you today. So I'm going to put on the switch so you can see. The light comes on and it goes off. So there's a manual button at the back that I'm using for that. Compared to what I did for the Iron Man, it uses the remote control. So I might just switch this Darth Vader to a remote control button. But we'll see how that goes. Welcome to the show, GV Tech. I'm G Vader. Without further ado, let's get to it. Now, the interesting part is the printer. This entire build was printed on the Bambu Lab A1 Mini. This is a compact printer, so printing something 2 feet tall on it means committing to a lot of separate parts and careful planning. But that's also what I wanted to show. You don't need a massive printer to tackle big projects if you're willing to be patient. The Bambu Lab A1 Mini is a compact printer and it's really user friendly, so I think it's a very great entry point for anyone that wants to get into 3D printing. Before anything was printed, I spent a long time just looking for the right model. There are a lot of Darth Vader models out there, but many of them either don't scale well, aren't cleanly split, or just don't look right once you go big. After a lot of searching, I ended up buying this model on Etsy. It wasn't the cheapest option, but the way it was broken into parts, the level of detail, and the overall proportions made it worth it for a build at this scale. Before I printed anything, I spent a good amount of time inside Bambu Studio getting everything ready. Because I was using the A1 Mini, I couldn't just scale the model up and hit print. I had to carefully arrange each part to fit the build plate, sometimes rotating and splitting sections so they'll print clearly without pushing the limits of the bed. In Bambu Studio, I adjusted orientations to reduce visible layer lines on key areas like the helmet and chest panel. I also customized supports rather than relying purely on auto settings, especially on more detailed sections. The goal was to minimize cleanup later. With a smaller build volume, every decision matters. If a part is aligned badly, you either waste filament on unnecessary supports or risk a failed print halfway through a long job. Once I was confident each piece was positioned properly, supports looked sensible, and the seams would align during assembly, I sliced everything, double-checked the print times, and started queuing them up one by one. Then it was time to print. The printing took several days. Some parts printed perfectly the first time, others needed reprints and small tweaks, nothing a bit of hot glue couldn't fix. Long prints mean you learn very quickly how much you trust your settings. Printing this much plastic on a small printer really highlights how consistent the A1 Mini can be when it's dialed in. When all the parts were finished, laying them out on the table was the first real wow moment. This is when you realize how big 2 feet actually is. Assembly took time, dry fitting, aligning, gluing, and constantly checking that everything stayed straight as the figure went up. For the lightsaber glow, I decided to go with a 30cm flexible warm light LED powered by a 3-volt flat battery. To make it work, I printed hollow red tubes for the saber so the LED strip could sit neatly inside. That way, the light would diffuse through the red plastic instead of looking harsh or patchy. After assembly came finishing. Once everything was put together, I spray painted the entire figure black. That helped cover up small blemishes, visible seams, and any hot glue patches from the assembly process, and it immediately made the whole thing feel more cohesive. After that, I went back in with silver acrylic on the shoulders to bring out some contrast, and then hand painted the chest plates and belt details. Those small touches make a big difference, especially on a model this size. Yes, this is more like it. The Jedi Knight turned Sith Lord, Anakin Skywalker, aka Darth Vader. I find your lack of applause disturbing. there was one last thing left for me to do. Paint his scarred face and head beneath that iconic helmet. Once that was done, I called it a day. Now, time for the glamour shots. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, share and subscribe for more content like this. Until next time, be good.